Hi, it's Steffi from Steffi's Beads and Baubles, and I'm doing about 3 different videos in a row that I'm going to schedule out this week. But this is the first one. I started this on Easter weekend, I think Easter Sunday, and I finished it about a week later because I didn't pick it up again for a week. And this is a little angel. It's the first angel I've ever done with the stacked sequins. And I put a little one over the knot as well. And I wanted to show you this little angel, and I'll show you the basics of how I do it. But to get the full directions in detail, go look below the video and you'll see a sentence and then it'll say more. Click the more and it'll have all my links, including a link to my basic ornament video, my stacked ornament video, and my edging video. But I'll show you a few basics, and this is how I do those for those that don't know, who've never been here before. I find a cookie cutter that I like, and you can also do this by tracing. And I take an ink pad like this one, and I like to use white on the darker colors and black on the lighter colors. Whatever's going to show up. I could have done black on this, but all my good pads are packed away because we're moving, and the one I left out is not working very good. So I did white on this one, and what I do is I stamp it. I get it on here and I stamp it onto felt. You can see how it looks. And then I cut them out. And I'll cut out 2, one for the front and one for the back. And the way you tell if they match is you find the back. Now, since I stamped on the other side of this felt, then I'm going to have to use that for the top of one and the underneath of the other. So the lesser of the 2 I'll put on top. And you want to make sure you have them right, because on something like this they won't match up the wrong way. So just make sure you line them up, and you know. Now this one I will know because they both were felt that I'd used before and have stamps from a previous piece. So I'll set this one to the side, and this is the one I'm going to start with. Now on this one I did the halo in a different color, which you can do, and I still stacked, but I just did all silver. And then when I edged it I did silver as well. So then I take a piece of beading thread. Now I buy beading thread in little spools like this for the colors, and you can get these on Amazon and pretty much anywhere that sells beading supplies, like Aura Beads I think might have some. I bought these on Amazon. I think they're Eslon, I don't remember. There's no marking on them. And I got 12 different colors, and I got 3 sets in one. And I don't know if they sell that anymore. But these little spools, and there's other similar spools, which I'll show you real quick. And that is these spools that have the paper. These are 2 different brands. Now, since I started buying these, there's dozens of other brands of beading thread. And I also have these in all my basic colors. Black, white, a couple blues, red, green, a pinkish purple, and then I have 2, this is 3 ounces. I also have, I think, 4 or 5 10-ounce spools in soft gray fuchsia, teal, black, and white. So I have a lot of thread, and I have these in dozens of colors of both brands. And they're usually about $2 a spool. If you want color, you don't need color. You can get one of these for about $25. This one is an 00, which is the thinnest you can get, but they go all the way up to B, which are thicker. So, and then I always keep a baby wipe, because after I've stamped with the stamp, I can take the baby wipe and get the ink off. Now, these are only for making ornaments. If I was going to use this for a cookie, I would do this, and then I would take it in the sink and scrub it a little better. But I don't tend to use the ones I use for ornaments, I don't tend to use for cookies. And I don't make cookies anymore, and I've already given all my grandkids and kids any cookie cutters out of my collection that they might like. Years ago, when I was first collecting, I gave them quite a few. So anyway, that's what I do. And to get started, I get a beading needle. Now, you do need a beading needle. This is my beading needle kit, and you can get beading needles in all different sizes. In different brands. I tend to prefer this John James brand, and there's different sizes, and really it doesn't matter. I get people asking me what size. It doesn't matter. Any of these are fine, and there's even some short ones too you can buy. It just has to fit through your seed bead. So if you have an extra tiny seed bead, you're going to want a smaller beading needle. But really, I've never had to worry about it. Any beading needle I have has worked on any bead or thread. The reason you can't use sewing needles is the heads of the needles, or the eye, I guess I should say, are too big. You can see how tiny this the eye is on this needle. Your traditional threader will not fit through this. And so I start by threading my whatever color, and white's fine. You don't need colors. I did only white for decades, and finally I got black, and finally these started coming out. And I got these in all the basics. Now these have yellows and oranges, which you cannot get in this. This also has more colors that you can't get in this. But that's why I have a variety. I have several dozen of these tiny threads in every color, and the ones I love, like this one, I might have 3 or 4 of them. But I also use white, and I use the black, and when I'm going to do a lot, I'll use, like I have a blue like this that I used for this, I believe. But the only way you'd see the thread is on the very edge of the edging, but the reason I don't use white is because I want it to blend in with the back. Now you could put white felt on the back if you're using white thread, or black on the back if you're using black, and I used blue, so I used a blue back to match the front, which you don't really see. Now there are spots where there's little gaps that you might be able to see a little felt, but for the most part I pack it in. But if you use the same color felt as the front color of sequins, then you will not notice those little bits of felt showing through. But I come through the back of the felt. For those that don't know how to do this, pick anywhere on here. Now when I'm doing traditional seed beads where it's all the same seed bead, I'll do the edges first. On this you really can't, because you're doing different sizes and shapes. But I come through once, make sure the knot connects, but then I put a pretty wide swath. I think you can see that, because felt is very porous. And I want to lay it down over the top like that, and then I come back up anywhere in that area. This will keep the knot from pulling through the felt. It's very easy on some felts. You can, I don't know if you can see how porous that is, but felt is a very porous, and some are more porous than others. When I'm going to do the stacking, I'll pick the largest one I want to use, and then I'll pick the next size down, and then like I'll find here's a little flower. Now I'm going to put those on in reverse. I'm going to put the biggest one on first, like that, upside down. These are cupped sequins. Can you see the little cup? They're faceted, like a diamond kind of. See, there's a little cup. So I flip it upside down so that it'll be right side up. Whoop, I just threw it on the ground. I'll pick it up later. I don't very often vacuum up sequins. I usually pick them up. Okay, so that way it's right side up. Then I'll pick the next one. Okay, and then that's right side up. You want it just big enough that you can see the edge of the one under it. Then I'll pick up a seed bead, which I have like a Cylon pearl. These are actually vintage that I got at a yard sale or something like that. And it doesn't matter as long as it's in the color theme you like. And then I will pull those down onto the felt, all of them. Okay, and so see how they stack? Now I move the seed bead out of the way, and sometimes I'll let the seed bead hang further down on the string, because you're only going to go back through the sequins. And I'm going to move it where I want it to be, right on the edge there. Now see, I just pulled on the knot, so I gotta, when I pull it through, I'll have to pull that tight. See how I push the knot out of the way? See? Now watch, it'll just pull it. There. Pulled the knot back up. And then pull it tight. And then I'm going to go in next to it again and just keep doing the same thing. And I'll do this kind of randomly, because sometimes I want to use like a big flower like this, or sometimes a Christmas tree like that, or here's another flower, or a snowflake. It depends on what I'm doing. Now on the angel, I'm not doing her Christmas-like, even though she'll be for our Christmas tree. Now this is a flat sequin, so you could do that one as well. This would be flat, so it does not have the cup. Oh, here's the one I dropped. It fell on the table actually. And I could use that one again, because that's a little bit bigger. See? This is a great way to use miscellaneous sequins. Now here's a dark blue. I did not do that the last time. This is a hologram darker blue. And then what do I have? I have a little tiny blue. I'm not going to do a flower this time, a lighter blue. And you can see how those stack so pretty. and you just see the edge of each one behind the one on top of it. Then again, and I have some seed beads mixed in here, so I could do a blue seed bead if I wanted. But I'm going to do another white one, and I have another white one here. And of course, I'm going to let that hang on my string. I'm not going to let it go. And I'm going to go through the 3 or 4 sequins. And again, I'm going to pull it where I want it to go. You don't want to pull it too far, but you can pull it a little bit. And then I'm going to pull that again. Now, if you're going to do single sequins, that's even easier. This is how you do single sequins. You might not want to stack. Maybe you don't have enough sequins to stack. That's fine. You're just going to take one sequin. And again, if you're using cupped, make sure that the bevel is upside down when you pick it up and flips over. And then I'll use a blue seed bead so you can kind of see it. And then you're just going to pull it down, and it's the same thing. You're going to move it where you want it. And I always tuck it under the one next to it when they're single. You can't do it quite as well when they're stacked. And then you're going to go back through it, leaving that seed bead on top to hold down the sequin. See? It's that simple. And to do the edge is a little more complicated, and I don't usually show it, but I will show it today. And I'm going to be in between the fabric. Either I'm going to start where I left off, or I'm going to come in between the fabric like this and let my knot be right there. So I'll knot it, come through and knot it. I'll have a knot, and I'll come through between the 2 fabrics. Then I'm going to go over the top, and I'm going to pull it and make a loop on top of the 2 pieces of thread or felt. Remember, the knot's in between. We're going to pretend I wasn't connected, but you can do it right from finishing your seed beads or sequins right to the edge if you want to. So where that is, I'm going to take 3 seed beads. And I'm going to use these big white ones because they'll stand out and they're a little bit bigger. And I'm going to go back to the back. Remember, I made a loop and came out the front. So I'm going to come out through the back and let it loop again. Now remember, when this is completely sequined, you're going to catch on stuff. Now see how it kind of flattens out. You make it into a triangle facing this is where the thread comes out, is over here. So you're going this direction. So you're going to find the seed bead that direction and go up through it. Okay. Hold on. This first one's the hardest one. Get it in place with your fingers and go back up through that the direction you're going. That's the best way to remember because you're going that direction. And then you'll pull it tight. Okay. And it makes a little triangle. Got to pull it tight. See the little triangle it makes? It's going to be, first one's going to be weird because you got the thread coming up from the bottom. It won't be till you get to the bottom that you can fix that. So then, after that, you only have to add 2 to keep making your triangles. So now you can do the same thing. Basically, you're going to be doing the same thing. Come up through the last one, go back around, and then you're going to have to work around these sequins, but you're going to come back up again through that last bead facing the direction you're going. See? And then you're going to pull it. And you're just going to keep doing that all the way around. Now when you get to here, if you want to do a different color on the halo, when you get to here, you just change the color of the seed beads until you get all the way around to here. And then figure if the next seed bead's going to be silver or white, and just change it accordingly. And that's how it is. And like I said, I have 3 videos beneath this video. One showing you how to do this, one showing you basic, and one showing you the edge. So that way you can check that out. But that's how easy it is. It's an inexpensive and fun hobby. Now I have a bag where I've mixed a bunch of blues together because I'm going to be doing about a couple hundred, or at least 100 blue and white ornaments for our tree this year. So I've been doing this for 30 years. So I have a lot of sequins, a lot of seed beads. I'll give you, if you're new, I'll show you. Up here, there's a box mixing there. There's another big one like that that's all white. And then these are all sequins going to here. And then these are seed beads. And these are seed beads. And these are bugle beads and some Dollar Tree beads. But this is all, and then I've got another box of felt that's over here that I'm working with. But I've got more felt. I've packed, and then I keep all my small scraps here for detail work, and then cutouts that I've already cut out here. And then this is sequin ribbon. This is some mixed up sequins and some cutout felt. But this is my collection from 30, oh my gosh, 30, I don't even know how many years at this point. It's a lot. I would say 35 years of making these ornaments. But I get a lot of my sequins from a certain store, because I get asked all the time where I buy my sequins. I am not affiliated with them. That's why I'm not giving you a link, because I'm not affiliated. Oh, this bag's broken. I got to fix that. This is the company I found in like 2009, and it changed my sequin life. Cartwrights.com, but they use two C's. Cartwright.com. It's mind-blowing, the stuff that they have. I'll put that in with my mix. It's unbelievable. They have all your basic colors, all your basic finishes, but they also have all these different shapes and sizes. Like this is a 5mm, and then they've got 4s, and most of them have 4s, 5s, and 6s, 8s, 10s, and 12s in many of them. Now, I don't know if every one of them has every size, but there's sizes from 3, and there's only a few with 3, a lot of 4mm. I use mostly 5 and 6, but when I'm doing this, I use everything. So I have in here teeny tiny ones. These are some of the 4s. They're teeny tiny, and then this would be probably, I think, a 10 here. So, I mean, you can see the difference, and I just mix and match them. Now, I have individual bags like this. I've got a blue bin down here. Right there is my blue bin. It says video 3, don't pay any attention to that. That's all blues. And then I have all these blues and whites over here that I've already pulled to use. So I've got a lot of sequins, but I've been doing this for 35 years. So anyway, this is the one I've just finished, and I did use a white trim. I used a combination of all different colors, from silverish, which is usually a clear with a silver lining, to dark blue, to light blue, to white, depending. I did do all silver on the crown. I did silver flowers with silver flats. I just did a simple 2. Actually, I used a fancy silver flat. I don't know if you can see it on there, but it's like a beveled one. You see how it has little lines? It's a flat sequins with like a sunburst coming out, and then a flower, and then a silver seed bead. Now, if you don't have many seed beads, you're just getting started out, Amazon, a friend of mine's looking into this, Amazon has thousands of sequins in lots that are very cheap, where you can get many colors in different finishes for pretty cheap to get you started. I think some of them were like 20 or 30,000 sequins. It was a lot. Hobby Lobby's a good choice, and then this company's about $1.50 to $1.75, I think, a bag. But you can get everything from this style, although this is a vintage one, to the trees and some flowers and different things. Some of these are vintage, some of these are new. And I get a lot at yard sales, thrift stores. I buy them online in lots. People getting rid of stuff. I haven't bought any online in a while, but there's all kinds of ways you can get seed beads and sequins. But Hobby Lobby, for starters, is pretty good. They're $1 a bag. Usually they come in 3 packs of, I think there's 5 or 6, 10, and I don't know. I know I have one in my orange I can show you. This is what you get at Hobby Lobby. And they have them in every color. And they're $1. And you get 5s, 8s, and 10s. And so if you need a lot, then you can just buy 2 or 3 packs. But you get a decent amount, because of course you use less of these and these than you do these. And they have these in every color that you would want. I believe they have some in hologram. I know you can get silver and gold in hologram, and maybe even red and green. I love the hologram sequins. These are just a normal round cupped with an iridescent, they're kind of an opaque with an iridescent finish, you can see. But Hobby Lobby is a good choice. If you have one near you for $1 a bag, you could probably for $20 or $30 buy one of every color. They also have some that are mixes of shapes too. like squares and circles and flats and cupped. And they're the same price in 3 different sizes as well. So that's a good starting point. Cartwright's is great, but you know, you're going to get, for the price of this, you can, for the price of this, $1.75, maybe $2, you can get 2 of these. So for starting out, this might be better, but if you want specific and fancy ones, here's the way to go, because they've got all the fancies. Again, like I said, I'm not affiliated with them, except as a customer, and I love them. When I first started buying from them, all their sequins were in a zippy bag with a cardboard stamped with their information over top of it, and they gradually turned it into this type of professional bag. But I've been buying from them somewhere between 2009 and 2012, and I've bought hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bags from them. A lot on clearance. I buy when they're on clearance. I also have a box up there of bulk sequins where I've bought the big bags like this for half or a quarter price, and of ones that I already loved in this size. I'll buy the big bags when they go on clearance, because then I have them forever. You know, I mean, I can use these till I'm 100 and 200 or 200 and never run out. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm trying to make as much as I can, because I want to use as many of these sequins over the next years that I get, and I'm hoping it's a lot of them. But I can create to my heart's content. I still pick up, like, if I want this in a 4, and they have a 4, or if I want it in a 6, sometimes I'll do that. I just did an order recently where I needed a certain size for a project I'm going to do for you soon. It's going to take some mathematical work because it's very intricate. But I needed a certain size in a certain color. And while there, they had a new, I don't know what you'd call it, line. Because like this is their opalescent crystal line. It's a new line, similar to this, but more opal, even more opalescent in this. And I got one of each one. And then the 2 I needed. And it was like $20, $21 or something for all of them. But it's a fun hobby. It can be a very inexpensive hobby. A piece of felt the size of this beading mat, you can see, makes a ton. A ton. If you need 2, you could make probably what? At least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ornaments off of it, depending on the size, maybe more. Your cookie cutters are great, but if you don't have cookie cutters or don't want to use them, then one thing I recommend is you can go to the store and you can buy this plastic here. It's like a stencil plastic. It comes in big sheets, and you can trace through it. Like you can put something under it and trace it and cut it out of this and then trace it onto the plate. So there's all kinds of ways. You can even do that on cardboard. For many, many years, I didn't think of the cookie cutter thing. I was tracing on cardboard, you know, drawing out pictures that I wanted to do, cutting them out on cardboard, and then one day, I don't even know when I did it, I was making something with an ink pad, and I believe that's how I came up with it, is I said, hey, wait a minute, why don't I try this? And it's worked really great for me for 30 years. So, but you don't have to use a cookie cutter, you don't have to use this ink pad. This makes it easy for me, and I've got over 1,000 cookie cutters because that's a collection I've been doing since I was a kid. I recommend getting a small, you don't have to get one this big, a small magnetic holder. They sell little square ones at Hobby Lobby for like $4 or $5. You put all your needles in there, and it keeps them nice. And then when you need them, they're in this little case, because these little things, you know, you have to pour them out to get. There's like 25 in a bag, and you have to pour them out to get one. So this makes it easier. You can put them in where you want them. I don't remember where I got this one. I don't remember. But it's a lot of fun, and I don't normally take this much time, but every so often I like to go back over the details. Now the next 2 videos I do, I'm only going to show anything different I did on those. I'm not going to go through the whole process. But every so often I will do it just to refresh or for new people coming in. But check out the videos below when you hit the more, and that'll give you the details on doing the edging. That'll give you the details on stacking. It'll give you the details on doing a traditional ornament. And I'll be back soon. I've got 2 more videos to do today, and those will be scheduled through the week. Today's Monday, and I'll put one for like Wednesday and one for like Friday. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back soon. Bye.